Hi, everyone. Before I jump into today's show, I want to ask you something. Can you recall a time when someone didn't respect your boundaries? Or do you remember a time when you respected someone else's boundaries? What does it even mean to have boundaries? Having boundaries mean you are establishing a personal limit on what you will or won't allow with your time, energy, resources, and your well-being. And when we honor someone else's boundaries, it shows you accept and respect the limits they set for themselves, regardless of if we understand or even agree with them. A couple of years ago, I was spending time with my grandmother outside, and with it being such a beautiful and sunny day, I figured it would be a great idea to capture a photo of us together. As I'm pulling out my phone, assuming she would say yes, I turned to her and asked if she would mind taking a picture with me. But instead, she softly stated, "No, baby, I'm not really feeling up to it today." Although a little surprised, I immediately put my phone away, smiled back at her, and said, "That's okay," and continued to enjoy my time with her. Even though I felt it was a good idea and wanted to take that picture, I had to respect that she did not. I had to respect her boundary. So I'll ask you, what are some of your boundaries? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the F.A.I.L. Podcast. I'm your host, Melody, and I am so happy you are here. And just in case this is your first time, I want to say welcome and thank you for checking out the show. Just so you know, this is a bi-weekly podcast breaking down life fails. I open up and reflect on my own personal fails, and I share how I have learned to not only accept and embrace my fails, but also how I have become better, stronger, and wiser because of them. And with this show, my goal is to encourage and inspire my listeners to view their own life fails in a similar light. Our fails are simply a part of our life experiences. Some of them will be good, while others are bad. We will have some wins and suffer some losses, and we will face some failures and celebrate our successes. Regardless of the outcome, fail or not, the experience itself is meant to teach you, to help you grow. So when faced with a similar situation, you can recall what you did, either right or wrong before, and then decide if you will choose a better, different, or similar course of action the next time. If you heard my very first episode, I shared that I think our fails can be our superpower. And I believe two very important superpowers we can learn from our past experiences is the power in saying the word no and the importance of setting boundaries. Establishing boundaries are especially important when we are entering into different types of relationships, whether they are personal, professional, or romantic, because it not only helps set the stage for what you will or won't allow, but also what you decide to say yes or no to. Back in my early 30s, before I met my husband, I, of course, was in the dating scene. And I started dating this one guy who just so happened to live only a few miles from me. After dating for about a month or so, he calls me up and says his apartment had mold in it and he needed to move out of his place for about a week and wanted to know if he could come and stay at my place during that time. Now, up to this point, we had been getting along pretty well. And because of the close proximity to my place, I got why he would think to ask me that. But I knew myself well enough to know I would not be at all comfortable allowing someone I was just dating and still getting to know to stay at my home. So I immediately told him no. To me, that should have ended the conversation right there. But he couldn't seem to understand why I would just say no without any further explanation. So in response, he repeatedly asked me, "But why not? It's only for a few days. Why can't you help me out?" My very direct and simple response of the word no was clearly not a good enough reason for him. But that was my boundary, and I knew I didn't need to explain it or defend it. My no was reason enough. I think for some people, myself included, saying no and setting boundaries can be difficult at times. You might fear disappointing or hurting someone's feelings, or you want to avoid looking selfish or unsupportive. Or if you are like me, not even realizing how important it is to have a set boundary. What happens when you don't set boundaries? Well, I personally found out the answer to this question the hard way. Like most young and eager 16-year-olds, when I got my driver's license and my first car, which was a very cute cherry red 4-door Dodge Shadow, I was beyond excited. This new level of independence I had felt amazing. And of course, I wanted to show off my car and drive anywhere I could. Any opportunity I got to drive or take someone somewhere, I eagerly jumped at the chance. The word no wasn't in my vocabulary when it came to driving. And the only firm boundary that was in place came from my mom, who told me not to let anyone drive my car. I said to myself, that's easy enough. I can handle this. But I quickly learned how wrong I actually was. Because I was so eager to drive and willing to give rides, the people around me started to take full advantage of my generosity. I started to get phone calls morning, noon, and night for rides. Now, this occurred back in 1997, so way before any of us had cell phones. And at the time, we lived with my grandparents, but had 2 separate landlines, one for their personal use and one for me and my mom. The calls I constantly received for rides got so overwhelming on our line, I just stopped answering the phone. But unfortunately, anyone who by chance knew my grandparents' number would call looking for me on their line. It was so crazy to think, but I had unintentionally become a free Uber driver. I became not only frustrated with people constantly asking for rides, but I was more so disappointed with myself for letting the whole situation get out of hand. I realized I had failed at setting up any type of boundaries. And because of this, people didn't respect my time, my energy, my well-being, or my car. They just wanted their free ride while I just got totally burnt out. But that experience, although draining and disappointing, taught me the importance of not only respecting boundaries, but making sure I set my own boundaries and stick firmly with them. And I know learning the importance of keeping my no simple and setting boundaries through my fails has become part of my superpowers. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, please drop down in the comment section and leave a review and rating. And please share the show and hit the follow button if you are listening on Spotify, Apple, or iHeart. You can also subscribe to my website and my YouTube channel at the F.A.I.L.Podcast. I will be back Monday, September 29th with a brand new episode. And again, I want to say thank you for listening to the F.A.I.L.Podcast. I'm your host, Melody, and I will catch up with you next time.